girl. I ain't cheerleading while the boys play ball. I ain't no typical girl. No, I wanna be right there in the middle of it all. And welcome back to another episode of the Music Cafe. Thank you so much for joining us this Sunday evening/afternoon. Again, time zones, guys. I was just talking to my guests about it backstage. I don't understand it. If someone can explain to me in a comment, I would appreciate that. But if you guys are a regular, thank you so much for joining us this evening. I know we've got fame.org. Hello, Fame. Hi, Christian. Hope that you're good. I will explain who Fame is in a hot second. But thank you if you're a regular. Welcome. If you are new to the Music Cafe, here are the rules. It is quite simple. Pick up your cell phone /laptop/iPad, whatever you're watching this on. Go to the kitchen. Grab yourself a cup of tea or coffee and a piece of cake. And then go find someone comfy, sit down and relax. This is a music cafe. We're here to chat. We've all been social distancing, but I like to see it as physical distancing. It's important to physically distance, but don't socially distance. Still contact your friends, check up on each other, and that is what I love to do in this space. Hi Stu. How you doing? So that is what we're here for. We're here to have conversations. So if you've got questions for our guests, chuck them there in the comments. If you've got just a random comment that you want to get something off your heart, put them there. We'd love to see it. Love to answer your questions, everything. But without further ado, let me introduce our guest for this evening. So first up, we have a wonderful, beautiful lady who I'm so excited to get to know. Her name is Kaylee Rose. Hi, Kaylee. How you doing?
Great. How are you?
Amazing. I'm so happy to have you here. Thank you so much for joining me this evening/afternoon.
Thanks for having me. So happy.
Amazing. Well, next, we've got someone who is very, very close to my heart. I've known him for a little while, and he's one of my favorite writing buddies. His name is Christian Bartman. Hi, Christian.
What's up?
Oh, you smile. Hope that you're good. So excited for tonight. Last but not least, we have someone who's kind of cool and kind of interesting. His name is Ryan Cunningham. Hi, Ryan.
Hey, how are you?
So good. Thank you so much for joining me this evening, everyone. I'm so excited for this cafe, for this chat, because I'm sure if anyone that's watching that is a regular here, y'all know that I love to talk about empowering the songwriter, for anyone up and coming to know exactly what they're getting themselves into, to know what questions to ask, who to get involved with, the do's and don'ts. As much as we can help, we want to do that. And of course, I love combining Nashville, my one home, with my other home, South Africa. So this is really, really awesome. And we've got two Nashville guests, literally. Kaylee, you're in Nashville currently, aren't you?
Yes.
I'm jealous. Ryan, are you currently in Nashville?
Yep, in Nashville.
Y'all can just leave. I'm so jealous. I'm so jealous. Christian and I were literally talking about.
Don't get jelly, man. Don't get jelly.
Well, I am jelly. I'm supposed to be there right now. Like, my ticket is. I postponed my trip, so this is depressing.
Really?
Hashtag Corona. Yeah, it's real. It's nuts. But you know what?
Movie or just visit?
Well, I come at least like 2 or 3 times a year to Nashville, and I stay like 2 months, and then I come back home. That's my thing. And like literally this year, I've not been able to do anything. But at least I'm able to do this. So this feeds my soul.
How long of a flight is that?
Sorry?
How long of a flight is that?
It's like a. How long? Is it 8 hours to like a? No, it's 10 hours to Heathrow, and then 8 hours from Heathrow to like Chicago. Am I right, Christian?
All depends how much you pay for your ticket. I once flew for 2 hours.
Oh,
but the ticket was like less than $1,000 for a return flight. So I was like, yeah, cool.
Christian is actually sold in the beginning. Was it your very first trip? You sold your car to get to Nashville.
Yeah.
Wow.
Like it was part of my bucket list to go to Nashville, and I've been a passionate songwriter since the day I can remember, and I just had this need to go. And then one day I woke up and I was 30 years old. I'm like, if I don't do it now, I'm never going to do it. How am I going to do it? Well, the only thing I have that I don't use for music is my car. Okay, let's sell that. And then I'll figure out how to get from A to B when I get back. I'm like,
yeah. So that's
best
real. That's
investment
like
of my life.
Was it
amazing.
selling the car?
Can we just quickly just acknowledge the random, like, everything I own has in Nashville.
I'm surprised you're not wearing your Bluebird t-shirt. Like, that's what you... There we go. He's got it
I
everywhere.
have serious issues.
Yesterday we went busking and he was literally wearing his Bluebird t-shirt. So it was, yeah, we
I didn't
love it.
I didn't realize that. I was like, oh, okay.
It's now just part of your nature. Anyway, okay. Well, I'm excited to talk about this Nashville and songwriting. I'm really excited to chat about this. But I think it's important that we just first go around the room and just let everyone know who they're listening to. So, Kaylee, will you start us off and just give us a hashtag Tinder bio version of who you are?
Yes. So hi guys, I'm Kaylee Rose. I am in Nashville, Tennessee. I've been in Nashville for 6 years now. I'm a singer, songwriter, artist, all the things. And yeah, I've been involved with NSAI since I first moved to town, but we'll get into that. I'm sure the whole
Yes.
Yeah, I'm a country singer and songwriter. Yeah.
And you've also just when did you release your new single, Bless Her Heart?
A month ago, right?
A month ago.
Yeah, exactly a month ago.
Amazing. So I also want to chat about that. So, releasing a song during sort of Corona times, which is kind of interesting. So can't wait to chat about that. So thank you very much for being on the show and blessing us. Blessed, did you get it?
Yes.
Blessing us with your time. Well, Christian, do you want to give us a hashtag Tinder bio version of who you are?
I am a musician and I make music.
Quite accurate.
I'm a songwriter and a performer, just like you, Kaylee. I do our version of the row. It's not in one place; it's all over the place. I also have a cover band that does about 230 shows a year. Not now, but usually. And I've got about 85 cuts in the local scene with Afrikaans music scene. My single I released 2 months ago just hit the 1,000 most listened to Afrikaans songs in the world on iTunes. That's quite cool. That happened yesterday. So yeah, so I'm into the scene, but then also I just love songwriting. I love songwriters and I love people. So that's kind of my heart.
And I've loved getting to know you. I mean, how long have we known each other? We met at one of my writers rounds
It's like 2 years now, I think.
Was it 2? Yeah. Was it 2 years? Gosh, it's been a minute.
I know. I noticed you jamming at Nashville. I saw like Justin Sarah posted stuff of you going to Nashville, and I was trying to contact you. Hey, I also go to Nashville, and then you're like ignoring me. I was like, okay, I might be that weird guy that randomly WhatsApps you and like, oh, I like you. I was like, okay, let me just actually meet you, introduce myself, and not be that weirdo on the internet.
Yeah, I'm so glad we actually met in person. So now we're actually genuine friends, which is quite great. And just so everyone knows that's watching, I mean, this is what Fame's saying, that Bartman is so modest. You literally have I call it a Goma, but it's a Guma award, which is, what is that? How can you compare that to something in the States? Like,
it's like an IBM award kind of thing. Yeah, I've got a few of those. But once again, being a big fish in a small pond, I'm not even one of the big fish. I'm just one of the guys that like eat. I don't know. That's there.
Okay. Oh, calm down. We'll get to you. Oh, gosh. Anyway, Ryan. So now you have a bit of a career as long from left to right to center. And the amount of just the amount of things that you've gotten into in your music career, if I can call it that, your industry career, is quite fascinating. It's really fascinating. So will you just give us a Tinder bio version of who you are, and then we'll dive into everything deeper in a hot second?
Yeah, of course. So my name is Ryan Cunningham. I'm currently the Director of Membership and Songwriter Relations at NSAI. I've done a little bit of everything in the industry, from working on a label, work in publishing, work in management, but really have just enjoyed having a career that's revolved around songs and revolved around, singer-songwriters and helping them develop and helping them to get to hopefully where they want to be. So I'm excited to be here and thankful to be joining the show with you guys.
Amazing. Well, I think we should just start with you immediately, because the theme for today's show is NSAI, songwriting, encouraging the songwriter, finding those organizations that want to be part of your journey. So when did you join NSAI? How did that come about? What was that process?
Yeah, it's actually kind of a funny story. When I was first moving to Nashville, about, I guess it was roughly 6 years ago or so, probably around the same time. It sounds like Kaylee moved to Nashville. I was interviewing for a couple of places and actually interviewed at NSAI and didn't get the job at the time because I didn't actually live in Nashville at the time. So that's actually what made me, so that's actually what made me like.
I think that was you. That's so crazy.
That was me. So that's actually what made me make the jump and go ahead and move to Nashville, which is crazy. And ended up working at a couple different places in town. But a little bit before the holidays this past in 2019, NSAI called me and said they had a position opening up and they wanted to talk to me about it. I guess they had been somewhat following what I'd been doing in my career. So I went and I was at a place where it felt right to go and talk to them. So spoke to them and ended up starting, got the job, and then ended up starting roughly January 6th, beginning of the year. So only been with NSAI for 8 months or so, but it feels like it's been longer just because I've been connected to them and in some ways throughout my career. So
that's amazing. And it's crazy that you started in Jan and literally most of your time with NSR has been during COVID and this creation of this new world.
It's been interesting to see it shift. Yeah, because I did get, a couple of months in there that were more traditional of how NSAI has operated in the past, but have definitely been got to be a big part of figuring out what NSAI looks like moving forward. And if, especially in the, COVID Corona times, it's been an interesting challenge, but it's given us some opportunities to connect with people in a different way. So we've been really excited about it in a lot of ways.
That is so exciting. I love being part of NSI because they're always looking out for the songwriter, wanting it to evolve with the industry and keeping up with everything about absolutely love. So I actually want just to dive into, this is the hot second now where I want to dive into your past. This is the moment. So you've done everything. When did you start in the music industry, in this music business, in the industry? Did you study this? What was your first job? And then, coming in,
So I went to school for recording arts and music production in Florida. And shortly after that, got my first job in the industry was at a label based in North Carolina, and started as the assistant to the head of the label, and kind of quickly moved into an A&R role there because working with the head of the label, I was fortunate enough that he actually took the time to pay attention to what I was doing and my skill sets and stuff like that. So moved into A&R and kind of had the opportunity to work with all the artists that we had on the roster, but look out for other artists to potentially sign. But also that was my first chance to really dive into seeing songs from an industry perspective instead of more of a fan or listener perspective. So that was a great opportunity to hone my skills of connecting the right song with the right artist. And really, really enjoyed that being sort of my first opportunity in the music industry. Simultaneously with that, that was actually owned by a film and TV production company where I was the social media manager. So I was the only employee split by both, which was a really crazy time.
Wow.
But I say that to say that eventually, about a year and a half into that, the film and TV production company decided to cut their marketing department, and that's where my salary came from. So the label, unfortunately, couldn't keep me on at that point. And that's the time when I realized, I was trying to figure out what I was going to do, and that's about the time that I started interviewing. That's when I took that interview at NSAI, and that's when I decided to make the move to Nashville without having a job or anything like that. Fortunately, about a month or two into me moving to Nashville, the label called and they had some opportunities to bring me back on, and they wanted me to open a Nashville office for them and to up my title to A&R director, which was great.
Wow.
So I did that for a little while until the funding ran out again, unfortunately. And but by that time, I was able to have enough connections in Nashville to find a new job, and took a great job as a publicist and social media manager at a company called PLA Media in town. Learned a lot there, but also simultaneously took a position managing an artist through a company called Music Row Management. And then kind of realized within that span of time that I really didn't like being a publicist, really didn't care for doing social media. So was able to have an opportunity to move on to a company that was a publishing and management company where I was able to manage a couple of artists there, but also work heavily with the songwriters on the publishing side, setting up co-writes, pitching some catalog, doing those sorts of things. And then from there, just had another opportunity to do another management company where we worked with artists like Sammy Kershaw and Pam Tillis. And then that led to the job at NSAI. So it's been an almost 10-year journey so far, but it's been great. Yeah.
I feel like just within your story, I've had like a roller coaster just listening to it. I mean, up and down, and then funding, and then this, and then changing. I mean, and just going from being like a publicist to a publisher. Am I right? Did I hear that right? Publicist to publisher and A&R, all the above is so fascinating. And I would actually love to, in a minute, get into just discussing how important that team is for a songwriter or for an artist to build the right people. And Kaylee, you obviously would know all about this as well. So can you dive into your journey with moving to Nashville and then becoming part of NSAI and your journey in the beginning of that?
Yeah. So I started playing shows in my hometown in St. Augustine, Florida, when I was 14 years old, and then quickly started realizing just people would come up to me in my shows and be like, you need to go to Nashville, you need to go to Nashville. And so I am lucky that my parents were very supportive. And so they would drive me up to Nashville at like 6. I think I went for the first time at 15 years old, and I loved it. And I just didn't know how important the songwriting part of being an artist is till I moved to Nashville. It hit me when I started college in Florida, and I realized like literally the first week in, like I need to be in Nashville. So I switched to online school and saved up money to move by myself at 19, and met Bart, who's the executive director of NSAI, right before I moved to town. So I started making trips. As it got closer to me moving, I decided to go up like every other weekend. It was an 11-hour drive, but I did that so I could kind of get an idea of what I should focus on when I move up there. And I met Bart and joined NSAI. And when I moved up there, Bart kind of just took me under his wing and really taught me the importance of writing. And, you know, when you don't grow up in the songwriting scene, you just aren't aware of it. Like I always would, I don't regret anymore because I don't think you should regret anything ever. Everything happens for a reason. But the one thing I used to get so mad at myself for was like, why didn't I start writing songs earlier in my career, and co-writing especially? So, if it wasn't for NSAI, I wouldn't be the writer I am today, because Bart really pushed me and tore my songs apart, but in the best way possible. You know, you kind of have to, that's the only way you're going to learn and grow, is if someone critiques you, and can't just get told, yeah, it's great all the time.
Yeah. So, my mom always said, don't let people tickle your ears. Don't let them tickle your ears. I think that's amazing.
I moved to Nashville in 2014 and just started meeting as many people as I could and co-writing with everybody that I possibly could get in a room with, just because I not only was learning just the art of co-writing, but also trying to figure out who I connect with and who I work well with. And it's like dating. There's only one way to find out. You got to go on the date.
Yeah, so true.
So I've been here for 6 years now, and I'm just so thankful for my growth and all I've learned so far, and for NSAI for just truly being my champion throughout my journey here in town.
Oh, that is just so amazing. And I love that you've mentioned co-writing at least 26 times in that paragraph. And because I've got a bug for co-writing, and I think in South Africa, we've got this culture where, and Christian would be able, maybe would testify to this, where there isn't a lot of collaboration in South Africa, either because the cliques are really tight, or I don't know, Christian might be able to explain that a bit more. But as soon as you step into a space like in Nashville, where it is just songwriting, it's incredible how even the top guys will write with you, and they are just keen to get into a room because they don't know where the magic is going to happen. You just never know. So you write with everyone and anyone. Obviously not stupidly, but you write with everyone and anyone for the fun of it. And you find those magical moments in those songs. So I think it's incredible. And Bart is such a great person. Like you say, I love that he tore your songs apart. I love you can testify to that because he is such a great guy in that way.
Right.
And the team at NSAI are so supportive, just incredible.
Yeah.
Just amazing. So, Christian, when it comes to you selling your car and then heading over to the States, and when did you discover NSAI, and when did you become a member, and how did that whole roller coaster start?
So, I think the guys watching have heard this story so many times before, but I mean, I've been a passionate songwriter since I can remember. I mean, I've been singing since before I could speak, and the thing for me is just I've never moved in those cliques, so I never had the privilege to be able to be in the same room with good songwriters. And the thing is, because I'm so passionate, I discovered the Bluebird Cafe when I was like 14 or something. I remember sitting in front of the computer crying my eyes out because there's actually a venue that's just dedicated to songwriters. You're not allowed to speak when someone sings. And I mean, the whole idea as a teenager just totally overwhelmed me. And then at a point, I just decided that because the thing is, because I'm so passionate, I kept on doing courses and getting as much information as I can where I could. And the thing for me was that you never get into the room with good songwriters, and the guys you do get in the room with, you usually end up teaching them, and they're like, okay, well, it's always good to teach, but I mean, at some point you kind of want to learn from someone else as well.
Yeah.
And then I met this guy, Scott from Los Angeles, and he wrote for a bunch of people. He wrote a bunch of songs for the Top Gun soundtrack and Celine Dion and all these kind of things, and he tours the world. And I became friends with this guy. He came to South Africa once or twice, and then I told him about this thing where I have a desire to be the worst songwriter in the room. I just want to walk in and know I know nothing. And he's like, "Oh, cool! You should go to Tim Pan South." I'm like, "What? What's that?" He's like, "Don't you know Tim Pan South?" And then I was like, "Okay, cool." So I started Googling it, and then I was like, "Oh, NSAI, what's this?" And I was like, "Oh, they do in Tim Pan South. All right, cool." And then I kind of went down that rabbit hole, and then within 4 months, I was a member and just absorbing all the information I could find on their website. Because I mean, for the first time in my life, there was an inexhaustible source that I could not get through. And then I just did it. That's where the journey started, and I just realized that this needs to happen. And I mean, for me, I think songwriting is like it's a calling. It's not really something you think you're going to do to become famous. I think some people at the beginning, they're like, "Oh yeah, I'm going to write a big hit for Luke Combs or something," but that's not why we write songs. We write songs because we don't have a choice. It's not. I didn't one day wake up and said, "Oh, I think I'm going to write songs." I mean, I literally was like 7 years old, going on the keyboard, creating melodies and finding like, what rhymes with me? Gee, okay, and like I said, it's the passion just kind of grows, and it's a bit of a mistress. One day you hate it, and the next day you love it, and you can't live without it. But you kind of really want to try not to be a musician, but you can't really help it because that's like what you were made to do, and that's kind of where the passion of NSAI and Nashville came in, as just the fact that there's actually a place in the world with like 3,000 plus professional songwriters just writing every day. And what's interesting for me is when I'm a tad older than Alexandra, so I came from kind of was brought up by the previous generation of musicians in South Africa, and they're a bit more closed. They're not as open and sharing as the new generation, which is most probably me. Anyway, and when I went to Nashville, I could not find co-writers. I tried and I was just like asking everyone. And then Alexandra told me, "Oh, well, yeah, man, I just walked in there and like this person connected me with this person." And I was like, what am I doing wrong? And I just realized that I'm still stuck in the selfish mindset. Even though I don't want to be there, I need to get out of my mind and start sharing. So like they say, charity starts at home. So I just started connecting with my friends that I trust, because it's an emotional thing in South Africa, I think, because it's such a hot button topic. So I identified 3 or 4 of my friends that I think are very musical and that I do trust and respect as songwriters. And I just started co-writing, and I just realized it's a cultural thing. You have to change your perspective of the world and the things you think you know. You must be able to be wrong, be okay with that, and grow and be once again the worst songwriter in the world. and do the dab. Anyway, and yeah, so yeah, that's kind of my story here. I love songwriting. It's kind of why I love Nashville.
Yep.
Maybe I'll love Los Angeles when I go there. I don't know. Would have been this year.
Would have been this year. I think, but I love the idea of a co-write and being the worst songwriter in the room. I think that's key. And like you say, to allow yourself and be open to someone criticizing that and ripping it apart, allowing there to be more light to shine into that. You can sort of grow in that space. And I'm pretty sure, Kaylee, that's what you've experienced in the circles of Nashville. You've obviously seen your songwriting skills grow since moving to Nashville and co-writing with different levels of songwriters as well.
Absolutely. Yeah. But then it's funny because like sometimes the people that you like can't wait to get in a room with, it's people that you've idolized. You end up getting in a room with them and realizing, like, this is what I was so worried about. And I don't know. It's like, all I can truly say at the end of the day is it's dating. It's just like dating because you just don't know what to expect. You're either going to like have a connection or not. And you can't just be like, oh, because they're a huge writer and had all these cuts, we're going to write a great song. Like there's no guarantee of that. So
that's very true.
I used to have that mindset of like, oh, I have to only write with like these kinds of people and learn. But no, I kind of realized you never like be picky about, you could be picky about it for different reasons. Like in my case, I'm an artist. So like, I know there's certain people that like I'm going to write better with because they get my vibe as an artist. So I don't know.
Yeah.
So many layers to co-writing, and like, I'm not going to just write with someone just because they have a deal. You know what I mean? Because they have time. Yeah. Doesn't mean we're going to write a great song. There's no guarantee.
Yeah, it's very true. And I'm sure you feel the same where that certain writers will bring something out of you. So if you want to write like a ballad sort of type of song, you know who to call. You know who to call if you want to write something more fun. You know who to call for X, Y, Z. So it is like dating. You sort of get to figure out what you like and what you don't like. So I've never thought about it like that. So now that's kind of interesting. So I'm going to leave songwriting for a second because obviously I want to get back to that and NSAI and all the above. But we've got a question here for Ryan from Mark. And this question actually leads into something else. So what label was that Ryan was part of again? So, sorry, what was the label that you were part of, Ryan, for Mark?
I was a part of a label called Oak Hill Music. It's unfortunately not around anymore, but it was based out of Charlotte, North Carolina. Yeah, I saw the, I think it said he was from Durham. Yes. It was based in Charlotte, and unfortunately, it's no longer around. But there were some pretty good artists on it. So
that's pretty cool. So I actually wanted, this now leads into my next question, and when it comes to this wonderful word called team, 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 and I think that not a lot of up and coming artists really think that they need that team or can afford or whatever it is that is the complication. And something that I really like to focus in on, and I think, Kaylee, you also mentioned the word networking, which funny enough in South Africa is quite a dirty word, but I know like in the UK, it's such a normal thing. In Nashville, it's such a normal thing. The word to network is so normal, but for us, it's sort of a dirty thing. But if you sort of go with them, I don't know.
Amway.
I don't know, Kaylee. All I know is that I love doing it because I love getting to know people and I love sort of connecting, and it's all a community. So that's my mindset. So it's weird, but like that's the space. And then also team. A lot of young up and coming artists think they can do it all themselves, which we can, which we should know. We should know quite a bit about the industry because we're in the industry. We should know our industry. However, we have our own skills, we have our own strengths, and we have weaknesses, and we're not great at everything. So, Ryan, I want to chat to you because you've been a publicist, you've been a publisher, you've been A&R, you've done everything. So when it comes to that core team that you think an artist, a songwriter, or an artist would need, what do you think is like that foundation, and then where would somebody go? What do you think are the most important pieces for the puzzle? Is that a terrible question?
No, I think that's a great question. I think it's a question that you'd probably get 100 different answers for, asking 100 different people. I'll give you my answer for it. I will say one thing, especially on the songwriter side, and Christian kind of alluded to this without necessarily naming it, but there's a certain concept that we see a lot in Nashville where at NSAI we talk to songwriters about finding their initial tribe, their initial group of co-writers that they're going to write with, and kind of all develop together and raise up the ranks sort of all at the same time. And that's very important as you're beginning out as an aspiring songwriter, because you want to find those people that you're going to get comfortable co-writing with, just to break that sort of awkwardness. And also, hopefully those people are pushing you and they're all heading in the same direction as you're wanting to head. They're all hopefully heading north. And eventually there comes that weird point where, if we're going with the dating analogy, that you have to kind of maybe occasionally break up with a co-writer. And that gets kind of awkward, but you just try to push through it and navigate those waters as best as possible. Kaylee,
you can hear me, hey?
Oh.
You can hear me, right?
Yeah.
Oh, I've lost Ryan and Christian. Oh, sorry, I lost you guys. Oh, there we go. Sorry, you're back. Sorry. I lost you. Sorry, carry on. Sorry, I lost you for like 2 seconds. I was like, huh?
Oh.
Sorry.
So yeah, I think finding that initial tribe of songwriters that you can co-write with is always great. As far as from the artist perspective, a lot of artists I think sometimes want to rush to have a manager, and they want to ask, like, when should I have a manager? And my answer is always, when you feel like you have something to manage, when you feel like there's enough going on to where a manager can come in and add value to you. Because a lot of times they're going to want to see that you're putting in that work ahead of time, and to know that even though you get a manager, your work isn't going to stop. Hopefully they're taking the load off of you enough to where you can stay creative and stay in that creative mind space most of the time. But at the end of the day, it's always going to be your career as an artist, your career as a songwriter, and you have to take that responsibility and that initial effort to put into it. So, but I think also, that being said, having the right team around you can help you get a lot further. You want to make sure that you're working with people that believe in your music, understand what you're trying to do as an artist, understand, what direction you're wanting to go, what the ultimate goals are. And then hopefully you're surrounding yourself with people that can help connect the dots to make those things happen. I know, and especially, Christian mentioned whenever he first came to Nashville that it was hard to find some co-writers. Obviously working with organizations like NSAI, where we're able to connect you with different co-writers and suggest co-writers based on what you're doing and what some other writers that we know of are doing, that can be really key. So starting out with some organizations like NSAI and having that as a champion in your corner is always going to be helpful to kind of push the needle a little bit further.
Yeah, and I love that you've brought that up, because I think that often people just sort of forget. They just want to do the agent, the manager, the publisher, the publicist, all those little bits and pieces. But to find a community, an organization that just wants to also, again, just support you along your journey, not wanting anything from you, just wanting to support you along your journey and your career, and again, just help put some puzzle pieces together, is really important. And I know there are only a few of them. I know there might be one in the UK, so there are a couple of them. But obviously Nashville, for me being the center of the universe when it comes to songwriting, I love NSAI and what they stand for. So when it comes to Kaylee, when it comes to you, and you've been doing this for a minute, right? You've been doing this. You've been in this industry for a little while. So when it comes to your team, and you met Bart and being part of NSAI and all that, who is your team? When did you sort of realize you need to start building that? Or have you started building that team around you?
Yeah, I've had like management deals and stuff like that. And I don't want to like get into it too much, but basically I've learned a lot from it. And that sometimes like you think the deal is the end all be all and the answer. And the longer I've been doing this now and the older I get, I realize like, every big accomplishment I've ever had in Nashville, every cool accolade I've gotten myself. And I feel like there's a lot to be said in that, because we think the deal is the answer, the end all be all. Like our career isn't starting until we get the deal. And looking back, I'm just proud of myself for everything I've been able to get without a deal. And I'd rather, I'm sorry to compare it to dating, but it really is so similar. It's no different than a girl who is so desperate to get married. So they marry the first guy they go on a date with, and then they don't end up having a happy marriage because they didn't see what all was out there. They settled for the first thing. So like I currently don't have a team, but I'd rather wait because I've had offers and people that have wanted to help me, but I need it to be the right fit because you're only gonna get as far as the people you surround yourself with. And like, I mean, I know so many people that have had record deals, publishing deals, but their deal isn't great. And so they end up wasting a year, wasting 2 years, and end up getting dropped. So like, yeah, the whole team thing, it's absolutely necessary when the time is right and when it's the right fit and the people are going to fight for your career as much as you are.
Yes, that's so true. And Ryan, I think Ryan, you said it as well, that they want to be part of your career. They want to support you. And I think you're so right. It can't just be a copy and paste. This works, this is what equals a successful career. It doesn't work like that. It totally depends on your work ethic, where you are at in life, what you're wanting to achieve, how much you're willing to give away at that point in time. I think it's an amazing testimony that you have achieved this much by yourself, connecting with the right people, networking, doing it yourself, which is incredible. And I think to have that drive is just amazing. So I totally commend you on that. Amazing.
With social media too, to like reach to people and get a following without having the team per se. So it's best too, the longer I've been here, I've seen it all. I've seen everybody, all types of deals, all types of artists make it. The people that I really respect are like Luke Combs. Luke Combs had a huge following and put in so much work before he got a deal with Sony that when it did come time to sign his deal, it wasn't what can they do. It was like basically he got to pick and choose who he signed the deal with and not be like, please sign me,
I think one thing that Kaylee mentioned in there was that the wrong deal can be sometimes a lot worse than no deal at all. So, making sure that you're with the right fit and things like that, that's always important.
Yeah, if I can chip in here, I have two things I want to add. I had a deal for 2.5 years where it seemed like after 2.5 years they just kind of wanted to keep me out of the industry because I was direct competition with other guys. So that could happen, which is and the other thing, I have a very good friend of mine that just started a new band and he's currently doing everything himself, like everything, but on all these emails and all the social media and everything, it's like the band, the team. So he uses those buzzwords, right? And it's so amazing to see how much he's actually getting without anybody's help, just using the resources that the internet gives you. He's been listed on a bunch of American radio stations, German radio stations, European radio stations. He's getting a lot of blog activity, and he literally goes and he's every single small little blog that nobody, like 1,000 people read, he goes and he targets them, because you're not going to get Rolling Stone in the first round, but if you have enough little blogs going and enough playlisting, and he was just listed on a rock playlist on iTunes, and it's everything he did himself. And at the end of the day, when you get to a point where, like Kaylee said, where you actually have the power, because I see so many guys signing at labels thinking that we're going to make it, the band's going to make it. And then nothing happens, because I don't know about America, Ryan, but in South Africa, it seems like one of three things happen. Either nothing, and you just sit and wait for something to happen, it doesn't. Or you are the one out of a million that they actually put everything behind. And the chances of that happening to you, no matter how beautiful, how good you are, is like almost zero. That doesn't happen. Like that literally happens to one person in 10,000 professional musicians in South Africa. Or three, you make it on your own, and they want you because there's no work to be done. They can just ride the wave that you've already created. And I mean, at the end of the day, if you want to be a successful musician, I think that is like a commercial successful musician. That's kind of the way you need to go, is cultivate your own following and everything, like Luke Combs, like Katie said.
Yeah. No,
Make
very
this
true.
like the least possible gamble for a label. You know, the more that they can see that there could be success with that kind of music and that brand, the more willing they'll be to take that chance and that investment, because it's a huge investment. Like, no one ever thinks about that part, I feel like.
Yeah. I think, Ryan, you'd be able to hop in, but I remember back in the day, I signed to a record label when I was 18, fresh out of high school, wet behind the ears, signed to this label in South Africa. I had great success when it came to the pop charts, really, really cool. I left them after 2.5 years because I just wanted to go back to being the songwriter, wanted to go back to my roots. And they were incredible. I saw it as my university years, having learned so much. But I know that the trend now with record labels, and Ryan, maybe you'd be able to help out with this as well, that back in the day, they would have the resources, the time, all the above, to work on artist development, to really see this potential and make it help it become something. Nowadays, there isn't perhaps all those resources or whatever it is, that they do just want a finished product, a couple of CDs, albums behind you, and now you've just got a bigger machine behind you. So is that sort of a trend? Do you think record labels are sort of becoming a bit of a nothing nowadays? Like, where do you think the industry is changing when it comes to labels?
I would definitely say, specifically when it comes to the artist development side, we're seeing in Nashville a lot of publishers starting to take on that role of the artist development, to where they're helping them, develop their songwriting, develop the songs that they're wanting to release as an artist, develop who they are as an artist, knowing what they want to say, and then helping to put that out and hopefully be able to take that and present it to a label. And obviously that's going to be beneficial for the publisher, because the hope is, they've written these songs under this catalog with the publisher, and then they go sign a label deal, and then they're releasing songs that are within that catalog. And it kind of helps everybody all the way around. So in regards to development, I think that is where we're seeing that shift in Nashville specifically, is that a lot of the publishers are taking on some of those artist development roles. Now there are certainly still all kinds of record deals in play, as far as development deals or just traditional deals. There's a lot of 360 deals that happen, where a label is getting they're getting a portion of revenue from other sides of the artist's career, such as touring or merchandise and things like that. So really, there's a ton of different ways it can shake out. But I think one of the big areas that you're still seeing, the major labels have an impact is when it comes to radio play, marketing budgets, larger economic success for artists. I think a lot of now that's certainly there are certain genres where that may not be the case, and specifically like hip hop or some pop cases, things like that. There's certainly a lot of people doing it on their own and making a great living, and there are artists that make a great living without ever having a record deal and or any of that. But if you look at it specifically, looking from the Nashville perspective, I think the labels are really do an amazing job still at getting artists to radio, but also putting the marketing budget behind them to be able to help them launch, to get bigger tours or get more attention, to be able to feed into other aspects of their career outside of just the recorded music.
Yeah, we actually have a comment here from Fame. Let me bring this up. We always say you should never just sign a deal for the sake of it. You need to make sure the relationship will work before you commit. Go on a date, like Kaylee was saying. And what you're saying here as well, Ryan, is that it's all about that relationship, finding the right fit for your career where you're at right now, and realizing that a label isn't there to just make your career. They're there to help you and support you along your career, and put more of a machine, more of a budget, whatever it is behind you to help you further along that road.
I think one of the best recent examples, or it might not be as recent anymore, but one of the best examples I can think of is Florida Georgia Line. They sold probably 100,000 copies of Cruise before they ever signed a label deal.
Yeah,
and they go and sign a label deal, and it stays the largest selling streaming country song for a long time, until I think some Sam Hunt songs have recently passed it. But I think that is really the testament to what labels are able to do for artists, is they're able to take what you're doing and just enhance it to a level that is, that next level.
Yeah, I totally
Can
agree. Sorry.
Can I ask a question for Ryan? Sorry, this is a bit more technical, but I'm a bit interested. As far as I understand in South Africa, right? If you are distributing through a third-party distributor like DistroKid or CD Baby, you get a smaller slice of the pie of your streaming income. But if you sign with a big label like Universal or whoever, they get a much bigger portion of the income of the streaming. Is that true?
Well, I certainly wouldn't know like the legal aspects of that, and can't give any legal advice for anything. But I think every deal is going to look a little different. Obviously, if you are distributing through some third parties, they have whatever deals or contracts that they're worked out on that end, and then each label deal is different, so everyone might get a different percentage of revenues depending on that deal. So I wish I had like a direct answer for you there, Christian, but.
But that is exactly that. So basically, it's exactly how it worked when it was CDs. It's just the platform changed and the amount changed.
The money changed, yes. Oh, we have a wad of questions still, and I just want to get them out because I do want to get to the music in a hot second. But I think I just want to sort of round off this part of the conversation. We got a couple of questions here. And okay, it was from Mark Lee. So this now, I think, has to do with what Christian was saying earlier with just working with those smaller podcasts, the smaller things, just we're doing it yourself, essentially. How important do you feel independent and community radio stations and podcasts are to your careers? So like those small guys and having built those relationships. So like Kaylee, do you have built up relationships over the years with these independent radio stations and these community and college radio stations and all that?
I've never really like dived into the whole like college radio station thing.
Yeah.
But like he said podcasts. Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
There's no such thing as too much exposure. So it's good to just get yourself out there on anything possible. And especially if you're like independent, just trying to get your music out there, like you should definitely try to get. I don't know. I feel like, I don't know if country is as popular for college radio as like rock and
sure.
Americana.
Yeah.
I feel like Americana is more. Sirens going off. I don't know if you can hear them.
It's cool.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that podcasts are the new hot thing right now. So if you can get podcast interviews, that's very helpful. Sorry, guys.
It's fine. We have another question here from Mark. And I think we've sort of answered this, but because of the questions up here, I do want to just chat to it again. Does artist development and A&R even exist in major labels now? Ryan?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, there's still all types of deals. People are still doing artist development deals to some extent. I would say A&R is still a big aspect within labels because those are a lot of times the people at a label that are looking to see who they're signing to the label, but also what songs are being placed with which artists for, albums or what singles and things like that. So the A&R department is still very alive. Now their functions may have shifted slightly, but they're still overall, deciding a lot of times who's signed to the label, what songs are going to be placed with that artist, and those kinds of things.
Well, if you guys are okay with it, I think we should do a bit of music now. Do a bit of a mini writers round. So, Kaylee, would you be keen to start off that round?
Sure.
Amazing. You get your guitar. I'm going to just explain because we do have an international audience. We've got some people from the States, wherever, South Africa, wherever you're watching from. If y'all don't know what a writer's round is, you're about to find out. So we're going to show you what a writer's round is, but I'll also explain it. So like in New York or LA, you'll have an open mic. In Nashville, Tennessee, you get writers' rounds, and they happen in every single bar, on every single street, and it's usually 3 or 4 guys or girls plugged in with their guitars, mic'd up, and they sing their original songs. They tell their story because as songwriters, we talk way too much, and they tell their stories, and they sing a song in turn for an hour. And when the hour is done, they get off, and the new guys get on. And it's always fun, and I love being part of them. And so because we're not able to really experience real live music, well, I'm not anyway. I'm very jealous that you're able to gig, Kaylee. I'm very jealous. Well, because I can't experience it, this is why we do this. We do Writer's Round here at the Music Cafe. Ha 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 ha. So, Kaylee, you know what you're doing. So you take it away.
I'm going to play a new song that by the way, if you're going to follow me on Instagram at I am Kaylee Rose, I just posted a video doing this song. This will be out on Spotify and Apple in a few weeks. So this is called Almost There. Stop signs, red lights, red flags, same fights, sorries, miss me's, don't leaves, taking back goodbyes. Ain't no destination past this conversation. Said it all before, we said it all before. We've been on this road for so long, don't know where we're going anymore. I can't do this anymore. Always slamming the brakes, scared to leave, scared to stay, recklessly back in me. Yeah. No, you'll always ain't there, acting like we're going somewhere when all you'll ever be is almost there, almost back home. White dress, so close, dead end, crashing, broke down. Baby, I can see you now. Always slamming the brakes, scared to leave, scared to stay, recklessly back in me. Yeah. No, you'll always ain't there, acting like we're going somewhere when all you'll ever be is happy and now gone close enough that I can move on. Gave you everything that empty light is still on. No, you'll always ain't there, acting like we're going somewhere. No, you'll ever be is almost there, almost there. Ain't no destination past this conversation. Said it all before, we said it all before. We've been on this road for so long, don't know where we're going anymore. I can't do this anymore. Always slamming the brakes, scared to leave, scared to stay, recklessly back in me. Yeah. No, you'll always ain't there, acting like we're going somewhere when all you'll ever be is almost there, almost there. Thank you.
Nice.
So awesome.
Nice.
I dig it. So what is your plan with release? Where are you at?
Oh my God, about to choke.
Sorry.
I did this at my show too earlier. People got scared because I started coughing. I'm like, no, it's not corona. Oh my God, so sorry. I'm actually going to release a bunch of music. I'm putting out probably like 15 songs. I'm going to do that like every week or every 2 weeks because since the world shut down, this is a great time to put out music.
Very true. Very true.
To listen to music. So.
Yeah, I will.
Sir,
Can I throw it
sorry.
in really quick, Alexandra? I just want to say, if anybody's looking for an artist-writer that really understands how to make a chorus pop and how to really have a strong chorus, you should definitely go to Kaylee.
Thank you, Ryan. I forgot that's your thing with me.
Yep.
That's amazing. No, I dug it, and I actually.
So Kaylee, go right.
Sure. For sure.
I actually wanted to ask you, so then during COVID lockdown time, do you find that you are just writing random inspiration because it's fun and you're just writing whatever you want to write? Or have you been writing more COVID-inspired stuff? Like, or you're just writing whatever?
I hate this new normal because I'm such an extrovert and I realized this year that most of my song ideas come from meeting people, going out, having conversations with people. It's never like my own personal stuff, or even if it is from like my personal experience, it's all about like going out and living life. Sitting at home this much has really been tough. I've been trying to read books and watch movies and kind of find inspiration with different emotions through like TV shows and movies, things that or I guess equivalent to going out and talking to people. So I'm thankful for Zoom, how we're able to write through Zoom. But
Yep.
I'm still writing. It's just harder. For me, I think everyone's different. Like you guys might find it easier, but for me, I find it really hard to be creative when I'm like in the same scenery every day.
Yeah. No, I get that. And it has been like a new skill to try and write over Zoom. I've now worked up to a space where I have between like 3 and 4 like Zoom writes every week, but it's definitely something you got to get used to because I'm so used to like feeding off the energy of someone in a room
Right.
to see where you're going. And now it's so different. You got to almost like prepare coming into a write and, whatever, which kind of helps, which is good to, work a different skill, but it is a totally different thing to write like that. So yeah. I get it. Can't wait to actually write with someone in person. Anyway, Christian, it's your turn. It's your turn. Yes. Just don't jerk on the water. Okay.
Actually, I spent the day I'm busy studying counseling, and I spent the day in one room with a bunch of people, social distancing, and it's becoming like summer here. So then I've got some hay fever happening, and I start sneezing because it's like close to a bush field with a bunch of flowers, and everybody starts freaking out like, take his temperature. I'm like, it's just hay fever. Calm down, put down the gun. Anyway, so I feel you there. So this song, sorry, like I said, I don't have a lot of English songs. I'm actually, one of my missions is this year to finish about at least 10 English songs. But this, I think I haven't sang this song in like 12 years. This is one of the first songs I wrote when I moved to Pretoria. I came from a small town, just like you, Ryan, and came to the big city. And then one of the interesting things was how quickly I fell in love with random girls. And I just felt like this silly boy, just kind of falling in love the whole time with random people. And I wrote this song. Ooh, there's my plectrum gone. Let's find a new one. And I wrote this song with the idea that this is kind of, I'm this silly little man waiting for a girl to notice me. Yes, weird. I know. I was silly. You looked into the room and time stood still. I stood there frozen in the corner because of you. There's a silly little man waiting for a moment to speak. There's a silly little man making an emotion of peace. And the silly little man wiped it, taking a big chance, but there's nothing really left to do. Cause the silly little man wants this girl to understand that there's nothing he would rather do than some time with you. You look so pretty with your curly brown hair. Beautiful, you mesmerize me with the first words you said. There's a silly little man waiting for a moment to speak. There's a silly little man making an emotion of peace. But the silly little man might be taking a big chance, cause there's nothing really left to do. Cause the silly little man wants this girl to understand that there's nothing he would rather do than spend time with you. And I would wait until forever to be engulfed by you. And I will wait as long as it takes, cause I'm in love with you. You'll be a part of me. I'll wait here for you. You'll be a part of me. I'll wait here for you. There's a silly little man waiting for a moment for a moment to speak. There's a silly little man making a new notion of peace. Cause the silly little man wants this girl to understand that there's nothing he'd rather do. And the silly little man taking a big chance, cause there's nothing he'd rather do than spend time with you. I don't remember the chord of that song. Thank you.
I dig it. It's so cool.
Oh, you haven't heard it yet? Yeah, cool.
No, I haven't heard. I mean, just the sort of songs that Christian writes are always so interesting. Is it your jazz one that
the jazz one. Yeah.
It's a beautiful song. I mean, just what a great round tonight. We got Kaylee, Christian. What a great round. So Ryan, your turn. Where's your tambourine?
I don't have a tambourine handy, so I'm gonna have to pass.
That's fine. I always make sure just in case you want to hop in. Well, I'm going to sing a song that, hang on. We got, before I get there, I'm so sorry. We have some comments for Christian as well. We got this here and here. Again, if there was a real audience, we would have a whole lot of, but we have to get used to the hearts and everything. So thank you so much, everyone, for commenting. This is so nice to have like an audience watching. So exciting. So I'm going to sing a song. Christian, I actually did it yesterday when we were busking. And I wrote it with a wonderful lady called Jane Buck, and she's a songwriter in Nashville. She's written some songs for Reba, and I think she's also connected to NSAI. And I sort of met her through a friend of mine, a producer from Canada, and we all did a co-write when I was in Nashville last year. And so she and I did a Zoom write a couple of weeks ago. And I had this little idea, and I had this inspiration. I'm a huge fan of Alison Krauss and Robert Plant, so I was like, I want to go full on that vibe. And so yeah, we created the song, and she had this really cool little hook. And the hook was called the hook is Definite Maybe. So this song is called Definite Maybe. Here we go. I know that I need somebody, but not just anybody. Someone who wants to be my baby. Being around it gets me drunk, low and lonely, high on love, like a double shot of a whiskey. You're a sure possibility, and I can't guarantee a definite maybe. I've been told that I'm too reckless, and boy, you leave me breathless. My stupid heart is helpless. You could be a definite maybe. Something that you're giving me comes across so innocently, makes me wanna pack away my crazy. Settle down and shake me up. I can't seem to get enough of flying high on cloud nine daily. You're a sure possibility, and I can't guarantee a definite maybe. I've been told that I'm too reckless, and boy, you leave me breathless. My stupid heart is helpless. You could be a definite maybe. And all my words are tangled up in knots. I wanna slow down, but darling, I can't stop. You're a definite maybe. I've been told that I'm too reckless, and boy, you leave me breathless. My stupid heart is helpless. You could be, and I've been told that I'm too reckless, and boy, you leave me breathless. My stupid heart is helpless. You could be a definite maybe. You're perfect for me. You're a definite maybe. You're perfect for me. You're a definite maybe. You're perfect for me. You're a definite maybe. Yeah. you. Thank you very much. Thank you. We got a comment here. Christian, can't believe I missed the Bartman Alley busk session yesterday. Happy days. Yes, we will be busking again soon because we cannot perform, which is quite sad. So, since the round is over, which is very sad, but I do want to get back into a few more questions about the industry and sort of, Kaylee, where you're at right now, you're able to actually perform in Nashville. So, how has the industry changed? I mean, what was it like being in that lockdown? And you say you're like an extrovert, like not being able to perform, not being able to get out, do your art, do your craft, and now being able to do it. Is there a difference? Like, are people just wanting music? Like, where are people at?
The biggest difference is money. I feel like I can't complain because I'm grateful that I'm able to play. A lot of my fellow musicians are not able to play because their bars that they play at are still shut down. But there's a limit now on how many tables they can seat. So there's a limit on how much money I can make. And so that's kind of the biggest thing I've noticed is, like, you know, people can't sit at bars anymore, bar stools, and it's every other table seating now. So it's just limited, and it's not that, like, you know, full crowd feeling. It's more spaced out, but it's just you just get used to it, and it's just the kind of situation where you have to try to, like, see the good in it, or you'll just be miserable. And people are definitely ready to just get back out there and come out. They're like, these bars that I play, I do a really good job of making sure everyone's safe while they're enjoying their time.
Yeah. That's good. That's great. And I think a lot of us are just sick and tired of being at home, and we do want to get out, but we realize that there are safety things and we have to obviously be aware of those things, but it's so important just to feed your soul. You know, you got to feed your soul with music and people. And I know, so Christian, when it comes to the South African space, where have you been during lockdown, like mentally, and not being able to perform? And I mean, we literally went busking yesterday because that was the option. So, I mean, where are you at with it?
Well, I did 75 live shows during lockdown, which did quite well for me for the first 2 months. Just getting people to tip, which is, once again, like Alexandra told us, it's not a South African thing. We don't tip in South Africa. You kind of get a fee and that's it. So it's cool. It's cool to see the people kind of getting into the idea of a tip, you know. It's because, I mean, at the end of the day, like a usual gig in South Africa at a restaurant or a venue, when you don't get tips, is maybe like $150, which is not enough. So, I mean, I hope kind of that the new venues will be willing to pay us and also allow us to have a tip jar to kind of create that culture. Because we are hungry for live music. And I'm very interested to see what's going to happen. I don't know, Kaylee. So there's limited space. Is it full, like, while you perform, and are there people that's waiting to get seated or trying to get in?
It's like such a nightmare because I'll, like, look out and see so many people wanting to come in, but they can't because there's no seating, and it kills me because there's, like, empty tables right there.
So Nash Vegas is in full swing.
Since there's only, like, the place I played at today, there's only 7 tables max.
My word.
So one person will sit at a 6 top, and then a family will come in, and then they can't sit because the table's taken, and, like, it's just, but like I said, I can't complain because I'm one of the lucky people that's able to play.
But luckily, the thing is that there are still people out there, which means that hopefully, as this thing gets more sorted out, hopefully, you know, it'll go back to the previous state where you could actually make a proper living. So what happened in South Africa is a lot of our venues, like more than half of my live venues, had to close their doors because they couldn't pay the rent. They couldn't. It was just one of those things. And those that are open are very scared to kind of have live music. I mean, I had 3 gigs this weekend that was canceled because the venues didn't feel up to it, because we are allowed to gig with extremely strict rules and regulations in place, and the venue is just like, no, we don't want to take the chance. So that's kind of what's happening. So I'm very interested to see whether we will be able to actually make a living until end next year. That's kind of what I feel. So I've been getting myself new skills. So I taught myself how to edit videos, and I've upped my mixing and mastering and production skills. Like I spent, I don't know how many hundreds of hours doing that, just trying to get an alternative income, but still be in music. So I think in South Africa, the reality is the fact is that we're not going to make proper money out of music for at least another 8 to 10 months, I think. Which is and I'm sorry, I get very philosophies. What's that in English? Philosophical about these things. But I mean, this is like, and it's hard to kind of confirm it like that. But this is our big thing. Like my parents had the big depression where they didn't have petrol to throw in their cars, and they were like bartering for food. Like, here's a chicken for a loaf of bread. You know, that's kind of what it was my parents' time, and this is our time. You know. Like you guys had the Vietnam War, which was a big economical crunch on America and all these things. And I think every generation has like this big thing, and just being grateful that we live in a time where there's not 20% of the humanity is not going to die. You know, it's amazing that the science and communication, the way that we handle this thing is just absolutely amazing. So if it means that we can't make a living for 2 years, but you know, we don't have hundreds of million people dying. I mean, I think that's a massive blessing. And part of being a musician is having passion for people and being able to tell the story and keep the mirror up and make them see what's happening in the world. And I think as songwriters, we have a very big, even if I have to get a day job for a year or two, I think we have a very big responsibility to be that voice of the people. Like, sorry, I'm talking a lot now. I wrote a song a bunch of years ago, and it's an Afrikaans song, our like local language, and it's the lyrics are literally everything will work out at the end. I know it's a big fight. I know it's hard to stay alive, but just remember, everything will work out at the end. That's like a direct translation. This is a song that I wrote like 15 years ago, and I relaunched the acoustic version last year, and all of a sudden it's charting. It's like playing on every single radio station in South Africa, and it's getting like our big national radio station, the big one. It's playing every day because people just want to know that it's going to be okay. And that's part. And once again, it's a song that came to me. It's not my song. It's just I was just the vessel that brought it out. But people need to have that emotion that comes through music, because I think Tony Mack said from DC Talk, he said that music takes lyrics further than it can fly on its own, and that's kind of our responsibility to be able to give people hope, to give people the mirror, to give people the art, the responsibility of the art. So in this time, okay, I'm done. I'm going to keep quiet.
No, I loved all you were saying. I think what you said something about the mirror. We're the mirror for the audience, our generation, whatever it is, and it's so true. I think it was not Shawn Mendes. It's going to come to me who said this. Charlie Puth. He said that we're creating soundtracks to people's childhoods. And it's so true that we're part of that. We are part of their growing up space. And it's important that we put out great messages, especially during this time, to encourage, whether it be just a good old happy song that makes you want to dance. Like, that's what we need. We need to be encouraging, or something that makes you look inward, and we are that mirror. So I think that's really important. What you're saying is important, Christian. And I think, we're coming to the end of the show, which is very sad, because I feel like there's so much more I need to ask all three of you. This is always very disappointing, this part, but I do want to chat a little bit about, I don't want to call it the new normal, because normal suggests what's been before, because I don't feel like we're ever going to be. I know that I'm going to be hesitant walking out in South Africa. It's been law to wear a mask for the last 6 months. It's been law, so it's going to be difficult to not leave the house without a mask. So I feel like the world is just going to change. So I mean, Ryan, when it comes to the industry, you've been in this industry for a minute, and you've seen it go through a few stages, a few growing pains. And when it comes to, especially now with NSAI, and you were there beginning of this year, and now you've seen this change, and you're about to go into this new change where things are loosening up a bit. How is the industry starting to shift, and where are songwriters' minds at, and where's the industry at, and and support for songwriters, all the above? I know it's such a broad, terrible question to ask you, but just like a general overview, I feel like I just put these huge questions on you. But when it comes to like that shift, where is the industry at?
I think it's one of those things that's kind of, we don't know obviously what's happening or where it's going to go, but people are just trying to really make their best guess and try to move forward. I think there's a lot of people that are trying to adapt and figure out what that new normal is going to look like, so that they can move on and be successful in whatever landscape that is. Obviously, there's been a big increase, like Kaylee said, in people releasing music. There's been a big increase in live streaming events, and speaking of something like Tin Pan, this year we're having to move that to a virtual setting. So that'll be in October in a virtual format, as well as our a lot of the seminars that we would normally do have been virtual this year, and we've had to come up with ways to make those events still happen and make them still engaging and to still bring value to songwriters and help them to learn and grow. But how do we do it in a safe format? And I think really it's the people that can try to figure out how they can adapt and how they can move forward, they're going to be successful. There were a lot of people that were very hesitant to write over Zoom and to continue to write during this time, especially as it all started out. And I think now some of those people are having to realize that they might have to write through Zoom for a little while or to keep it going. Yeah. So, but I think the ones that have been doing it from the beginning and at least trying it, I think they're going to have a leg up, moving forward. That's all on the songwriting side. There's of course like the touring side, which is, I feel terrible for anyone that is in the touring space, because that has just been kind of obliterated and moved. Everything's shifting to 2021, obviously, and hopefully those shows can happen. But we just don't know on that side of things. So I think they're starting to figure out different ways to be able to hold shows in a safe environment, like Kaylee mentioned, with some of the venues she's playing. And I think as it starts to evolve, we'll see what that landscape looks like. But I think it's going to be just unfortunately sort of a guessing game. And the music industry always finds a way, it seems like, to make something work and to move forward in a way that is successful. So I'm very confident that we'll be able to do that as a community, but it just might take a little longer this time than normal. So
no, I totally agree. And so I think because I believe in what we all believe in what NSAI is, and supporting the songwriter, especially now, more than ever. Where is NSAI at? Because is your building open? Because you've also got beautiful writing rooms at the actual building, and so are you guys even open for allowing us to go co-write? Or are you completely closed, working from home? Where are you guys at?
So currently we are open Monday through Thursday, 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. If you're a member, you can make an appointment to meet with someone. There's only a few people at the building, so if you're a member, you'd have to make an appointment. If you're someone that is looking to just learn more about NSAI or wanting to sign up, we're allowing those kind of walk-in appointments. We do have a writer's porch that is available by appointment only, so you'd have to email reception@nashvillesongwriters.com to set that up, and that is again for members. And like I said, we're just trying to bring as much value as possible during this time. But I do think the beauty in this for us has been able to realize how we can connect with members that are outside of Nashville more. Before it was you had to be in town to come meet with someone in the membership team, and now it's kind of with Zoom and things like that. We're able to open that up a little bit more. So we're still love to meet with people that are in town that come into town, as long as we can, set an appointment for that. But we're also happy to meet with people, in a virtual setting and be able to connect as well.
So Christian and I are I've mentioned we're the South African coordinator. So for anyone in South Africa that's wanting to get involved with NSAI, contact either one of us. We're on all socials. But Ryan, when it comes to someone who has no idea what NSAI is walking in, where can they find you guys? And just in a nutshell, what do you guys do? And then what is obviously the website that they can go to?
Yeah, so the best place to find information is, of course, our website, which is NashvilleSongwriters.com. Really, NSAI's mission has always been to sort of celebrate, educate, and elevate songwriters while also, advocating for their rights and making sure that they're taken care of, as far as royalties and compensation, but also just sort of that champion for a lot of songwriters and helping them get connected with co-writes and helping make sure that they are continuing to do things to hone their craft and providing resources, such as our seminars. And we developed during this whole thing, one of the great things that came out of it was we developed a program called RISE, which is stands for Remote Interactive Songwriting Education, and it's a 6-week songwriting course that we've been doing. So there's a lot of great resources. But another great resource, if you are looking to learn more about NSAI from someone that's in it, is of course the chapter program, which you guys are a part of, down there in South Africa. But we have hundreds of chapters across, the United States and really around the world. And that's a great way for people to get involved with NSAI, to find out more about it and what that looks like within their local area. And it's also a great way to meet, new co-writers within your local area. So, it's a great resource to join. And there's some other great resources that we obviously have for members, but I think anyone that is just starting out in NSAI or just looking to learn more can either talk to someone in the membership team at NSAI, reaching out to reception at NashvilleSongwriters.com to set that up, or reach out to a local chapter and talk to the coordinators there and meet some of the people and kind of learn more about it.
I think when I was told about NSAI when I was in Nashville a couple of years ago, and somebody in the industry who I trusted, and I said, okay, fine, I'll go knock on their door and check them out. And just getting to know, I think it was Mackenzie. I was just chatting to Mackenzie, and then at the time, not you, Kaylee, a different Kaylee who was working inside, and I think she just recently left. So I was chatting to her, and I met Bart on one of those meetings as well, and just getting to know the community, that there were people out there who wanted to support you on your journey, and that were able to connect. They're connected to Smoking on the Row, which was at Douglas Corner, which very sadly is closing down, which is very sad. Very sad. I used to message Donnie, who did the open mics on Tuesday. I'm like, your African girl's coming. It's very sad. But like those, just to be involved in that community was just so incredible. And especially being away from Nashville, because Nashville, I do feel, is my second home. It is my home. It's my home away from home. And to have that little bit of connection and know that I can hop into the website. I've just written a song that I think is amazing, send it in, all the criteria, and to get that, what is the word? To get the feed, did you say feedback?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there we go. Thank you. To get that feedback from an adjudicator who is totally anonymous, but is a great songwriter, and they know their stuff. And to get such great feedback that is so supportive and so accurate. That's the irritating thing. They're always right. I hate that. They're always right. To have that is really special, being away from Nashville. So anyone out there that is just wanting to grow their songwriting skill and to be part of that community, like you're saying, Ryan, hop onto did I spell it right? Yeah, NashvilleSongwriters.com.
Yeah, that looks right. Yep.
I'm just seeing my eyes go wonky. Like I'm looking at it, like it looks wrong. Hop on there and and we're all available. So you can contact any one of us, DM us on Instagram, Facebook, whatever it is. We can put you in touch with the right people even, and just get part of the songwriting community. So yeah, Christian, you've just given me a website. Yes, that's the one that I had. Yes, 100%. Thank you. So yeah, well, guys, this has been so incredible and amazing. Thank you so much to all of you for hopping on this afternoon, spending your Sunday afternoon / evening with me in this music cafe, chatting about the music industry, songwriting, NSAI, all of my love. So thank you so much for being on today. This has been incredible.
Yeah,
amazing.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, guys, I hope that you stay safe, and be safe out there. I know it's a crazy, weird new world, so just be safe. And if anyone wants to get in touch with anyone in this room, just hop onto a DM. We can do the connections and everything. But you guys have been amazing. I'll see y'all soon.
Thank you. Have a good night. Yeah, night.
Thanks. Yeah, you have a good afternoon.
Yes.
Awesome. Cheers, guys. Cheers. Bye. What a great show. Wasn't this just amazing? We've got a whole lot of comments here. Christian, I see you. Love the show. I know. Mark, totally agree. We've got something from Christian. Did we show it right up? Yes. Anyone in South Africa that wants to know what's happening with gigs, head over to fame.org.za and they'll be able to they've got some info on their Facebook page. I did read that. I did heart it, Christian. I did heart it on Fame. And we did have a question from Fame asking if we'll be able to do a writers round. So here's hoping that we'll be able to soon be able to do like a proper real live writers round. We'll see what we can do. So here's hoping. But this has been such a great show. Thank you so much for joining me, guys. Next week, we've also got another fantastic show. So until then, stay safe, sanitize, call your loved ones, and I will see you same time, same place next week. Bye.
I ain't no typical girl. I ain't no typical girl. I ain't cheerleading while the boys play ball. I ain't no typical girl. No.